Dadnarok presents The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, or Captain America and the Winter Soldier after show. This is Sean.
And this is Chris.
Hey, boy, what a finale, man.
Dude, and yeah, I mean, overall, I mean, the thing was great. The show was fun. I thought they did a great job all the way through. I
Yeah,
mean, there's a few things we need to talk about, but I mean, as a whole, I enjoyed it.
I did too. I did too. I thought that, and you and I were talking after our last show last week, that this finale was probably going to need a lot of dialogue heavy. It's gonna definitely was going to start with action because everything was kind of converging onto New York, and we were, stuff was already brewing. But it was pretty much structured that way, where the first half of the episode was all the New York Flag Smasher stuff, and then afterward to kind of wrap the other storylines up with a lot of dialogue heavy scenes. But I liked it. I mean, the dialogue heavy scenes have been a strong point to this show.
That's been the best part of the show. I mean, the pattern of the show has mainly been they have one huge like action scene. Like episode one, it was the very beginning. This one here, it was the beginning. Once again, the beginning of the show,
Yeah,
and they kind of base it off that, and then they kind of pivot really well into
right.
explanation of what's going on, and flushing out the rest of the show.
Yeah, we kind of open it up here, our cold open, with Sam's new outfit from Wakanda: red, white, and blue. The shield, stars and stripes. It looked good. I'll be honest. The every time that he was flying through the air and using that shield and fighting, I was like vocally being like, "Yeah,
Are
all
you
right, Sam."
really now? See,
Yeah.
I had the exact opposite reaction. Like
Oh,
I knew I knew he was. I did. Maybe it's the same reaction I'm getting, and I'm so stuck on Steve being Cap. Like he is in my
oh
mind.
no, that was
He's
the whole
Cap.
point of this whole show.
Yeah, I know. I like the fact that Sam is Captain America. I love
Right.
the idea. I love the whole idea about it. I mean, he pulls it off well. He acts the part really well.
Yeah.
But when they went ahead and what happened with John and the Shield and the Flag Smasher, I would have personally liked them to hang up the Shield. Like I want to see like going forward. I want to see Sam struggle with that. Should the moniker of Captain America continue? And maybe him
Right.
fall back into Falcon rather than Captain America.
Yeah, I guess I could see that side of it too. Just instead of, making something that was somebody else's your own, just being your own thing. Like I was in the beginning of this show, I was okay with the Falcon just wanting to be the Falcon, like him
Mm-hmm.
not accepting the shield and just embracing who he was as a hero and as a character and as a man, and not necessarily like living in Steve's shadow, but just being your own, being your own thing. But this show did a lot of groundwork too with the history of Isaiah and the
Yeah.
importance of that icon and the importance of a strong leader of a Captain America, and just the emphasis of, Isaiah said it himself, like this country is just not going to let a black man be Captain
Yeah.
America. Once that was put out there in the world, once those words were spoken, I was like, well, Sam has to be Captain America
Yeah.
because he
I
needs
mean,
to prove a point that, Isaiah in this case is wrong, and that we can grow as a nation, as a country, and just do it. But yeah, I can see what you're saying, because towards the beginning of the series I felt that same way too.
yeah, I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's not a good thing. I mean, it's just one of those things I'm kind of indifferent on.
Yeah.
When he busted through that window with the shield and he flew through and did his flip and everything and
Yeah,
stood up and the music played. I mean,
that right there, when he threw the shield through the window, then jumped out the window, and then flew down and caught the shield, and then flew back up, I was like,
yeah.
oh.
After he was fighting Batrocs and yeah, and he told him he said goodbye or something like that, au revoir, and he
Yeah,
took off.
I
Yeah,
liked
no,
it.
I mean there was a lot of scenes that were with him fighting as Captain America. I thought were fantastic. I mean, no, him as a character by himself,
Right.
not even with the shield, is a fantastic character. There's nothing special really. It's just him and his one-two and his abilities, and I think that by itself it speaks a lot to you know his character.
Yeah, for sure. They did a lot of good character work with Sam in the show, but I would hope so. He's half the title.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, this episode picks up right where the other one left off. The GRC, this big meeting in New York, the quote unquote terrorists, the face smashers, no, flag smashers, have come, and they're taking over this building with all these kind of diplomats and politicians and stuff, and they're all over the place. Like they're all hidden. They're all in like security outfits. So like it looked like they had already infiltrated this thing a
Oh,
while back.
full. Yeah. I mean, it's 100% Hydra. That's what I thought. I
Yeah,
thought I thought Hydra.
it gave me Hydra vibes for sure. Yeah. But so Bucky's there too. He calls Sam on the phone, and he's like, we're going to try to do our thing. And then Sharron Carter appears out of nowhere, like within the first 2 minutes or whatever. Like all
Yeah.
the players are on the board.
And she
And
came in all kind of cloaked in some type of technology where she was like
yeah,
changing her appearance.
yeah, that was first seen actually in Civil War. I think Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow used that same kind of face changing thing in a scene. That was kind of neat. But anyway, they so basically the plan is that Karli, the leader of the Flag Smashers, now that things have kind of gone awry, she decides that she's going to kidnap these politicians and kind of take them out. And they're worried about kind of how far they take this. And Karli says as much to her little minions there. She's like, if we need to kill them to make a point, then we will. And they were all kind of taken aback. They didn't know
Yeah,
how
no,
to
they didn't
react to that.
like it because I mean she went one world and she was expecting one people,
Yeah.
and no one repeated it
Yeah.
until finally someone did. 'Cause she kind of said it again forcefully,
Right.
and then they kind of fell in line with her. But you can tell they weren't on the same page anymore.
No, she was beginning to cross the line enough to where even her fellow Flag Smashers were starting to see it. So, Karli was an interesting character. Well, I mean, we'll get to her fate later in the show, but I don't know. There's felt like a little bit of wasted potential there too, which might have been something. I don't know. We'll talk about kind of whole series feelings at the end of this episode here. But even Walker shows up. Like John Walker just kind of walks up out of nowhere, and
I don't know, with no ramifications or anything, wearing
yeah,
his old suit with his now, his shield that he
just
built himself. That
bolted together.
man, that thing got beat up like a bad tinfoil hat.
It barely protected him. I forgot for a second that he had the super soldier serum too. He started to get kind of ganged up on by the Flag Smashers, but he has kind of an arc through this episode too, where he's kind of played as more of a goof at the end of this thing. Like, is he a bad guy? I
No.
guess not really. Is he a good guy? Not really.
Yeah.
He's just
Well,
kind of a dude.
like you said, he was getting a snot kicked out of him.
Yeah.
And then unbeknownst to me, I mean, I wasn't expecting it, but all of a sudden Bucky jumps in and
Right.
like basically defends this dude.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I guess both Bucky and Sam can see the good in him and can, because they were trying to reason with him before everything went
Right.
haywire. Well, at
Yeah.
least Sam was.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of Sam's personality and like values are rubbing off on Bucky.
Yeah.
And I think that's the growth we've seen in him in this show here. So when he actually came to his defense, it was surprising and not at the same time if you think about it.
Yeah, that's true. So that's where the fight kind of goes away from this building. Batroc and Falcon were kind of fighting inside the building, and Falcon does that cool move that we talked about earlier to get out of the building. Meanwhile, the Flag Smashers have loaded up two trucks. They almost look like bank trucks or something. They had almost like a vault in the back of them or something. Some big trucks, anyway.
It's kind of like the SWAT vehicles.
Yeah, and they filled them up with these politicians, these diplomats, these GRC people, and they're hauling ass away from this building. They're moving, and Bucky had to give chase, and
Because he took the phone call from Karli, which was a stall tactic.
it was totally, and he knew it at the end of that call too. He was like, "Damn it." But yeah, just a lot of action. It seems a lot of fighting. This is where John gets in the mix, and it's a lot of kind of clashing ideals. A lot of it was kind of for me, it was a little hard to kind of keep it all straight because it was happening so fast. Because they were really on the move.
Because Karli apologized to John immediately. Is
Yeah.
like I'm not trying to hurt anyone that's not opposed to my call or something like that. He said, well, Lamar was somebody or something
Yeah.
down those lines,
Well,
and
she
that's when
literally
he
said, like, I didn't want to hurt anybody that wasn't important, or and she
important to my
correct.
calls. Yeah,
Yeah, and he took as that, oh, he wasn't important, he was expendable,
yeah.
and so pissed him off royally.
Oh
So
yeah, they start going at it, and
yeah,
like John has the upper hand on her. I mean, they're fighting. She's running. She's backing up. She's retreating as much as she can,
yeah,
and she gets him, and she swift kicks him straight in the head. Almost kicks his head off his shoulders.
a little parkour action, a little jumping off the
Yeah.
wall and kick to the head. Yeah,
Oh, I mean, I enjoyed the shot because I mean, I'm enjoying not liking him because I
right.
think I enjoy Carly, even though she's as misguided as she is. I've enjoyed her character immensely more than I've enjoyed Walker. So
Yeah,
watching him get kicked square in the head like a soccer ball, uh, I know it was, I kind of smiled.
you enjoyed it.
Yeah, very much so.
So there are two SWAT trucks. When the two of them have different kind of paths here. So one truck she sets on fire. She's got these politicians locked in, and she wants to use it as a distraction for
Yeah,
Bucky. She knows that Bucky's going to attempt to save him, so she sets it on fire. And Bucky does, of course, like he fends off the kind of the other lead flag smasher. Carly's only remaining number two guy, and he does save him. It's almost the first time, and I trying to think like back in the other movies, this may be the first time that we've seen Bucky actually say like legitimately just be heroic and save somebody like from a peril. So when he gets them out and he gets thanked for it, it kind of takes him back a bit. Like, oh well, that's what that feels like. That's kind of nice. um, and the other truck, it gets driven off into this like construction site, where it's in peril too because it's about to crash off these big girders.
yeah. Carly kind
And
of hits the gas, jumps out of it, and let it kind of go.
yeah, and John and Carly have this fight, and they're chasing each other. And John has a choice. He runs up to this construction site. He's got a choice to make. Either he keeps following Carly, or he stops and does what he can to save this truck from falling down and killing all the people inside. He makes the right choice, thankfully.
Yeah.
If it was a couple episodes ago, I don't think he would have. He
Yeah.
had some kind of off-screen growth. I don't know. As a character. But he made the right choice and he pulls them back. You can even hear it in the score. Like the score becomes uplifting as opposed to like menacing. But he pulls them back and then he saves the other truck full of passengers. So these GRC people, these politicians, they'll be alive for another day.
Yeah, but yeah, you mentioned Carly right away. So Carly got out of town, well, out of the area, I should say,
Yeah,
and she's down in the basement, and you see Walker, down there, kind of hunting her down now, kind of stalking her. You,
yeah,
you kind of see him pop out of nowhere, and you just kind of see him holding the shield. It's just a silhouette, but you know exactly who it is
right.
because we know who the other person is carrying the shield, and he's not built like that.
Yeah,
And then all of a sudden, you see Sharron and Carly, like face to face, guns both drawn, and I mean, and then it just start talking.
yeah,
I wanted to control a world that hurt you, but I wanted to change it. I'm not interested in power or an empire. I have bigger dreams.
What, like this? Come back and work for me again, all of you. We can make a difference together.
You just want me because you need your muscle back. Without our super soldiers, how much power does a power broker really have?
More than you.
what
That
power
was,
broker?
that was my confirmation. Woo me!
It happened for you. Hey, good job.
Like we were talking pre-show, I was starting to get nervous. I was like, man, did I confirm that she was the power broker before, like, then find out she wasn't? Like,
Yeah,
a lot of like thoughts were popping in my head. Why would she hire, Bat Trucks to go ahead and try to kill Sam? That makes no sense.
yeah.
And then it was like, okay, maybe she was just trying to infiltrate, the Flag Smashers, which come to find out, that was exactly what she was looking to do.
I've got a
But
theory about Sharron Carter that I'll share with you at the end of this episode. A new
okay,
theory. A new
new
theory.
theory. Oh wow, okay, we're gonna keep this theory rolling. But yeah, those two go toe to toe, and it's funny because when outside of that clip there, her extra like backup is Batrox walks out, and then now he knows she's the power broker,
Right.
and what did you think of how this whole transaction went down? Like the interaction between all three of them.
Even when Sam got in the mix too.
No, pre-Sam.
Oh,
So they're all there, and all of a sudden he's like, okay, it's gonna take 4 times more, and she's like, you know what? I don't deal with blackmail very well. She pulls the gun and shoots him.
right.
I'm like, I see. I didn't like that. I didn't
Yeah.
like the fact. Well, we don't know. They didn't show him dead. We know he
No.
got shot, so
Right.
we don't know what his true fate was.
Yeah.
And we
Um,
know Carly got shot, and we know Sharron got shot.
honestly, this whole Sharon power broker thing, it's a little confusing to me because it's like, is the power broker a bad entity? And if so, then why has she been helping out, so blatantly helping out Bucky and Sam for a lot of this? And I don't know, just her. I can't quite nail down what her motivations are. Like, if she is the power broker, which is she definitely seems to be, given all the dialogue that we see this episode. What's her main goal? Like, what's her main objective? Is she a
This
spy? Is
goes
she a double agent, triple agent? Like, what's her real goal here?
this goes back to the text message that Carly and the Flag Smashers got when she stole the serum.
Yeah,
Her main objective in this show here was to catch up with her and them and kill them and get her serum back. Well, now that the serum is destroyed, her pure goal in this show was to destroy the Flag Smashers.
mm,
And then she's going to fall back into her whole role in Magnapore. But we know some things have changed that are benefit her.
yeah. I guess I just would need. I'm hoping, and I guess we talk about it later. We'll talk about Sharon later. But yeah, Bucky and John, they outsmart the Flag Smashers. What happened there? Bucky and John. It's in your notes.
Oh, geez, wow, brain fart. Wow, sorry guys. Yeah, no, they're using that technology and that whistle and that little app they had. So they're like
Oh yeah,
they're bringing them to a certain location. They're thinking they're all going to join there, be safe, and kind of move on.
right.
And he brought out like the three of them, or I think it was three of them, and he
Yeah, there's
suckered
only
them in.
like three of the Flag Smashers left, and they were trying to get away, and they used that app, on the phone. But Bucky, who happened to have one of their Flag Smashers phones, because they literally handed him one a few scenes earlier, the app was
Yeah.
on there, and it told him exactly where they were going to be.
Oh,
So
good catch! I didn't catch that
yeah,
back. Yeah, when he took the call for Carly.
right. So that was kind of a bonehead move. Go ahead and give your opposition one of your phones with the apps on.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's a really good catch because I didn't pick that up.
Yeah, so they take them away, and then John recites some line from Lincoln, and Bucky kind of gives him crap for it. He was like, "I don't want to hear that stuff from you." um,
Oh,
and so at the end of the scene down in this warehouse that we just saw the clip for, the ultimate end result there is that Carly ends up getting a gunshot from Sharron Carter, because her and Sam get in a tussle. Sam finds his way down there, and Sam, once again, he's trying his best to talk her down, to do his
yeah.
mediation thing, to do his empathy thing, and she's just too far gone at this point. She's
And
not
he's
listening.
not fighting. She's like, fight back. She's yelling, fight back, fight
Yeah,
back. And she's just he's not. He refuses. And then there's a point where the shield's gone. He's standing there, and Carly picks up a gun, and that's when Sharron, puts a bullet or two in her.
yeah.
And I mean that's that. I mean, it was pretty much it was over at that point.
Yeah, and it's fun. It's kind of a dual thing, right? To where, as far as Sharon's perspective, it looks as though she was just saving Sam, you know.
Mhm.
But I mean, that's probably what her objective was the whole time. Like, if
Serves her purpose, yeah.
she's not going to come back and work for me, then she's expendable. She's done.
And she knows too much and everything. She's got to go.
Right? Yeah. So that worked out for Sharon. So yeah, after that, we get this. We made it the thumbnail because it was such an amazing image of Sam with his wings out, landing in the middle of a city street, surrounded by police lights, the red and the blue lights just blasting everywhere. He's got Carly in his arms.
And did it like slow motion too, because I kind of got like
Yeah,
almost like an angel type feel out of it when he
it
comes
was
in.
very angelic. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, there was like movies that other movies that come to mind that you see that.
yeah,
And it had that feeling when he was carrying her body, and when he walked over and then put her on the gurney. And
Yeah.
I mean, that whole scene from when he comes in to the whole scene on that bridge. I mean, they're immediately asking who he is. Do we call you Captain America? When did the U.S. government, give you the Captain America, mantra? Do
Right.
we call you Falcon? Do we call you Captain Falcon? I mean,
Yeah.
they're asking, pretty rapidly who he is, and
Yeah.
then he says, "I'm Captain America."
Yeah. Pretty definitively. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is good. Yeah, he wore it this whole. There was no doubt as far as we hit episode 6, and he was fully embracing it. Um, but he's pissed because he starts talking to these GRC politicians who are going to go right back to what they were doing and all that they were doing. This is another part of the show that was kind of nebulous, and there wasn't a lot of. It was more about talking about stuff rather than showing us, which is kind of an issue with. I think the whole storyline with Sam, Bucky, them two working out their inner demons and embracing the things that they needed to embrace and changing the way they needed to change. All that stuff was spot on. I loved it.
Mhm.
All this stuff with the Flag Smashers, the GRC, the terrorism, the stuff going on in the borders, this subplot of a disease that apparently they cut out due to the pandemic, like Disney, the editors actually cut out.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, just all this stuff was it was a little hard to like wrap my head around, like all of the motivations for characters and stuff. But anyway, this GRC thing, apparently they've been, relocating people and just not helping as much as they could. And Sam calls him out on it. He's like, we shouldn't call them terrorists anymore because they're doing it. What they're doing, they're only doing something in response to stuff that you're doing. So why aren't you like taking a step back to evaluate what the heck you're doing?
Yeah, you said you're sending your relocation soldiers in there with weapons, and they're calling you terrorists.
Right.
So really, it's an eye of the beholder. Who's a terrorist here?
Right. And it's a bit heavy-handed as far as big allegory of America's larger role in the rest of the world, right? Are we like the world police, or are we, sometimes we're viewed as the good guys and sometimes we're not. And, but, he acts as a mediator again, Sam. He does what he does best. He's a voice for both sides to be able
Keeps
to
falling
be.
back on his strengths.
Yeah, which is a great thing. Great way for his character to end up here. And he does talk some sense into him because the GRC decides to do things differently going forward. But yeah, kind of a long exposition scene for Sam. Like, Anthony Mackie had to remember a lot of dialogue because he was talking for like 2 minutes straight. And the news footage were capturing him, and then you would just kind of spot Bucky like nodding approvingly, and
you even see John kind of agreeing.
Yeah,
with what he's saying. So I'm super confused about Walker. I really he's a character that I'm just like I didn't hate him as much in this episode as I have in the past episodes.
Yeah,
but I still don't like. I don't know what to think of him. Frankly, him. I'm just kind of flabbergasted with him. Like where are we going with him? Are we gonna make him a bad guy, or are we gonna make him a good guy? Because if you're gonna make him a good guy, you have a lot of work to do.
Well,
he's no Loki.
If they're aiming for some sort of weird in between, this weird anti-hero that's kind of not either a hero or a villain, then I think they nailed it because it's so like I don't know. You and I are both on the same page. Like I don't know if I should be rooting for him or not. Like should I be rooting for him to do the right thing? Or is he just going to be such a goofball and, just make the wrong decisions all the time that I just want him out of sight, out of mind?
Yeah, he's back. I'm back.
He's back, baby. That was crazy. U.S. agent. But yeah, during this whole speech that Sam's given on the city street there, he's making all these, great points, and the news is covering it, and Isaiah spots it. From his home, even he sees the news footage, and he finally sees a black Captain America in the flesh, all the the red, white, and blue, standing out there and talking to people in power and talking them down from doing the wrong thing. And it even seemed to change Isaiah's mind, who has had 30 plus years of
just bitterness built up in him.
Of circumstances, pushing him in the other direction. But yeah, this is when basically this is kind of ends the action portion of this episode, and we really get into wrapping the series up as a whole. With a lot of dialogue heavy scenes and a lot of kind of clips here and there. Oh, finger slipped. My bad.
No, that's good.
Wish I hit the right one. This is
Yeah,
what we
you
were
went with the
talking
right
about.
clip. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's I love how he compared the GRC to Thanos.
Right.
I mean, he flat out said, "You're no different than an alien coming here trying to wipe out half the population."
Yeah.
And I mean that was pretty cool. I caught that. I was like, "Ooh, that's got to sting a little."
Right. Yeah. He's like, you have the same power that this god from space did, or this misguided teenager had, and it's like, what are
Yeah.
you gonna do with it? And it,
Well, he said
it
if you
just,
don't fix it now, I mean, you don't want a Carly 2.0
yeah.
because I mean, he's basically flat out said you have all these people following her that defied the most powerful governments in the world,
Right.
and they were able to infiltrate anything they wanted very easily.
Yeah.
So if they find out another leader, someone else to pick up the mantle on where she left off, I mean, kind of as a martyr in a
Right.
way. Um, I mean, do they really want to deal with that? Because if
Yeah.
it wasn't for these guys, I mean, and a big question is like, where's the rest of these guys? Where are the rest of the team? I mean, the Avengers, are they off just vacationing in Barbados? But anyway,
It's a great question. I don't know when you mention. I mean, Tony's dead.
yeah,
Hulk. I don't know where Hulk is.
Hulk, you never know where Hulk is.
Yeah, you never do. Thor. I don't know. He
Thor's
went to
off
outer
world,
space.
yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, there actually might be an answer for that for
You
each
have
of them. They
you
seem
have
to be.
Strange. Strange should be there. Spidey is hanging around. Granted, he wouldn't be much of a fight. He'd just be
Right.
a slip. I mean, there's Ant Man,
Yeah. Maybe
Hawkeye.
they should have had this take place in Washington D.C. Maybe otherwise, it's like, why isn't Spider-Man there? It's going on in his backyard.
Yeah,
He should be swinging around with some GRC people, but whatever. That's fine.
yeah. We're nitpicking a little bit here, but
Yeah, a little bit.
but I mean, yeah. We'll leave it at that pretty much. But the whole conversation, it hit hard, and I liked how like the news was there. You already mentioned, Isaiah watching, and you see him softening to the
Right.
idea, and it's almost like I don't think there was one present, but when he basically said, "I know there's gonna be people looking at me that don't want me carrying this."
Yeah.
He already feels the looks. He's not blonde haired, blue eyes, Aryan,
Blue hair,
and
blonde eyes.
just the whole thing. And I love the character development in Isaiah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think out of all like the characters, maybe like the non main characters, I think he's probably my favorite of this series.
I did too. I love how Isaiah and Sam, they collided. They were two people that didn't know each other. They came into each other's lives, collided, and completely affected and changed their points of view going out from meeting each other. That's good
Yeah,
writing right there. Just yeah, they're totally their worldview was changed by each other
yeah.
from this show. So it was very cool. Yeah. So as far as like leaving New York, I mean, this agent comes up and tells Sam, "Hey, we still got some people in the river. Do you mind helping out?" And he's like, he's gonna go do the job now. Like
Yeah.
he's Captain America, and he's gonna go help people. That's what he's gonna go do.
That's it. That's
Um,
him now. Yep.
yeah. Bucky and Agent Carter, Sharron, they kind of walk off. Sharon's got a bullet in her gut that she's needs to go get taken care of.
Gotta get that fixed. Yeah.
Yeah. But before Bucky leaves New York, he does make good on his what Sam told him the episode prior. He goes and sees
Puts in the work.
the old man. Yeah, he puts in the work and he tells the old man the truth about his son, how he was the Winter Soldier. And I don't know, you could just tell it didn't go well. They didn't really show the man's reaction too much or that conversation long form in that apartment. But we just kind of cut to Bucky uncomfortably leaving the door and walking past him the next day while the old man's eating at the shop, and he doesn't stop to say hi or anything. You can tell maybe that relationship's probably done, but it's at least he did the right thing.
You can see it hurt him too because he looked in. He wanted to go sit down with him.
Yeah,
but we didn't get enough. In my opinion, we didn't get enough of that. We needed more from that scene.
There was a lot of build up to that scene. There should have been more payoff as far as how that conversation went, I think. Yeah.
We should have seen questions. We should have seen, maybe the anger maybe wouldn't have been in his character, but we needed something more than just seeing Bucky admit to, it was the Winter Soldier did it,
Yeah.
and that was him, and he had no choice. That was the only why we got, and then
Right.
pretty much we see him leaving the actual, the apartment. Yeah, that was one of the things I was like, man, we deserved more out of that.
Yeah, I think so. Even with the book, I mean, they kind of took a shortcut there to where Bucky kind of sneaks into his therapist's office and leaves her a gift, the book with all the names crossed off. And it was like, well, that was easy. I mean, we didn't get to see any of these other folks you're
Yeah.
gonna make it right with. Kind of a shortcut there, but it is what it is. Nothing's guaranteed as far as a season 2 of shows like this, so they kind of have to do what they can. And they were doing production during the pandemic, and originally I think it was going to be longer, and they cut it to 6 episodes. So around all the stuff, I kind of, at the end of the day, it was a good show. But
Yeah.
yes, some of the stuff, you were left kind of a little. You wish there would have been a little bit more. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I guess, and it's a sign of a good show, though. If they leave it short and you want more,
Yeah.
I mean, that means they're doing something right.
Right. And then what happens? Let's catch up with John Walker. Let's take a look at what happened with him.
Things are about to get weird. So when they do, we're not going to need a Captain America. We're going to need a U.S. agent.
There he is.
I'm back. Oh, man.
What do you think about that? I mean, we already talked about John a little bit. I mean, how soon do you think we're going to see this character again, or if we're going to see this character again?
Oh,
we have to, right?
We're absolutely going to see this character again.
Yeah.
The question is when and where will we see this character again?
Right.
And I mean, I don't know. In Hawkeye, it's a guess.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like this whole show has set the groundwork for like phase 4 or phase 5. I'm not sure what phase we're in right now of the whole thing. I mean, between Sharron and the Power Broker, we have a new Captain America. We have Bucky, who's now no longer the Winter Soldier.
Right.
We have U.S. agent going forward. I mean, there's a lot. I don't think we're done with the Flag Smashers. I think we're going to see more of that.
Yeah, maybe.
I think the GRC is now done because that's going to. I mean, the whole world coming back as one.
Right.
I mean, that's got to play some type of part going forward in every series in some manner.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's big, little, or whatever. So, I mean, then we have Isaiah, which was, that was a huge story arc for a non-main character as well.
Yeah, I really love this conclusion. Sam goes back to Isaiah's house, and Isaiah has, kind words for him. He was like, you're special. You may not be Martin or Malcolm or Mandela special, but you're special. And Sam does something special for him. He takes him back to the Captain America Museum back in DC to show him what he's done. He's made good on his work to make sure that his story was put out there, and that Isaiah's story is never going to be, buried forgotten again. Yeah, he's going to be revealed in the first place because, I mean, it was like a closed dossier, and now it's like open for the public to see.
Yeah, no one knew who he was, and this is what we're talking about here.
Now they'll never forget what you did for this country. Never.
Ooh, powerful stuff.
Yeah, stuff. I loved. When they first walked in, and Isaiah was with his nephew.
Yes.
When he first seen it and first realized what this is and the importance of it, but not just what it is, but where it is.
Right.
And you see the hardness of this man. Tough dude. And when you see a guy of that stature start to break down.
Yeah,
I mean, the actor that plays him did an amazing job.
he did. Yeah, and I think we
Yeah,
mentioned that even the first episode that he was on.
yeah,
Just
Carl Lumley. I
yeah,
mean, he needs. I mean, I don't know if a supporting actor or somebody. He needs. I believe he needs a nomination in some way, and whatever it is. And I think it's also due to the time we're living in. This show here has skirted issues that we're dealing with in society right now.
yeah,
And the fact that they were able to pull a character in like him, give him a true backstory, not just a force-fed backstory,
yeah.
and then make the arc the way they did. It was great.
It was great, and it adds even to Steve's mythos. I mean, we found out that in between Steve's appearances as Captain America, there was this whole other world going on. I mean, Steve was in ice for 70 years. Of course, there was other stuff going on. We kind of blank it out as like, oh, well, the nether region of the Marvel Universe, nothing was going on. There's plenty going on. The government was doing its thing, and it just reinforces the whole mythos of Captain America as a as an icon, as a somebody to look up to. So yeah, that was a great scene. And to round it all out here in the show proper, I mean, there's a couple of end credit scenes, but Sam goes back to his hometown there with the boat, with his sister, with his nephews, and they're just partying. The family's
Bucky's
there.
They're just Sam and Bucky there. There's nobody else. I love how, and you always hear people say this. I go home and it's what grounds me.
Yeah,
you can tell his sister is like, you know what? I don't care what get up you wear. You're washing the dishes.
Right. Yeah.
I can see that, and just how like Bucky's like flexing with his metal arm,
playing
or
with the kids.
arm.
Yeah.
The kids are just hanging off it.
Right.
It's just that I can watch a show based on those two in their town doing nothing but normal things.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be entertaining. Them just back and forth, going grocery shopping, going fishing, fixing the boat, just whatever it is.
Yeah.
I think that'd be just an entertaining little, little show. But I mean, that to me is fun.
And we see Bucky smiling. Bucky's got an ear-to-ear grin like the whole time. He's just walking around, just enjoying himself, which is we don't get to see much of, or we haven't.
Cry from the Bucky we used to know.
Right. Yeah. Well, he's found the home, the Wanderer, the White Wolf, the guy who couldn't settle down and find some peace. He might be able to actually find some peace here with Sam's family, which is that's nice. That's a nice ending for him. But I don't think this is an ending. Yeah.
Yeah. No, we're not done with Bucky in the least. There's going to be. I think we're going to see him in the Wakanda show. I think we're going to see him finally go home. Yeah. I don't know if home is the right way. Go back to Wakanda. Mm-hmm. And what kind of retribution is he going to face in Wakanda for freeing Zemo? So I think there's some cards that are set up for that series. I don't think he's going to play a big part in it, but I think there'll be a part when he returns.
Right.
Which I think will be huge.
Yeah, anywhere that they take Bucky, because he's got such an interesting past, you could take him any number of places. And there's all kinds of cool shows that they have on the horizon here.
What if he's captured again? What if he's captured and he's shocked back in? What if someone finds a way to return him to the Winter Soldier?
Oh, well, that would be scary. If that was some sort of plot element where Hydra had this leftover thing that could reprogram him or whatever, and them trying to steer clear of that and avoid that might be
well, it's just like Captain America Winter Soldier when he was recognizing Steve,
right,
and then they put him back in the chair and they just hit him again, and he was back to the Winter Soldier with no memory of what was going on. What if there's some faction? So I really think Dreyfus, Julia Louise, messed that up.
Julia Louise Dreyfus.
Thank you. The Constantine, she is Hydra. I believe she's a portion of Hydra. And if there's still Hydra cells around, there's still maybe things from Hydra that are out there. And if they're playing that long game, because I don't know if this is anywhere in the comics, and this may be where it's something they could steer away from. And they capture him and they shock him back into the Winter Soldier. Could you imagine the way that this could go?
Oh,
and
that would be terrible for that character. Yeah.
and the pain that it would like add to Sam, for instance, because now he's lost uh, Steve. Now he may lose now his second best friend in Bucky.
Yeah. Well, you're thinking season 2, huh? You think there'd be well, they gave us the title at the end, right? So they changed it from Falcon and the Winter Soldier to Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Do you think we'll get a Captain America and Winter Soldier series?
And, they're toying with us, and the reason why I say they're toying with us, did you hear how that they are presenting WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier to the award ceremonies, the award shows?
Oh, are they?
One is going to be the WandaVision is a limited time series.
Mm-hmm.
Falcon Winter Soldier was not entered in that category. It was entered into a category of just like mini series or sitcom or the show.
Mm-hmm.
So they're making sure they're not competing against each other, but people are hinting at, okay, there may be a season 2 just based on the category that they're putting him in.
Okay. Well, there's a lot of stuff on the horizon here, and then we get one last exit reveal here with Sharron Carter. She's being welcomed back into America, and they mentioned, "Hey, your family's been with us a long time, and we're going to repay you this debt and bring you back and give you a job back and stuff." And she's very humble. She's like, "Oh, thank you, Senator." Blah blah blah. She walks off from the Capitol. She steps down the stairs. She gets on the phone and she calls somebody. Who knows who this somebody is? But she's like, "Hey, we may have, the super soldiers thing didn't work out, but I may have access now to all sorts of weapons and industrial and espionage secrets and stuff." And you're like, "Oh God, Sharron, what? Who are you? What are you doing?"
Well, how about we hear Emily Van Camp actually say this rather than coming out of your mouth?
Good, thank you.
Start lining up our buyers. Super soldiers might be off the menu, but we're about to have full access to government secrets, prototype weapons, you name it. Should be something for everyone.
Dude, the women of Marvel are quickly becoming my favorite part of Marvel.
Wow, you love Sharron, huh?
I love Sharron Carter. I love Wanda.
Yeah.
I love the soldiers from Wakanda.
Right.
I love. I mean, there's a lot of all that I'm loving. I love that angle. I love that. I love what you can get out of this. There are so many ways you can go.
Mm-hmm.
You can go complete espionage on it, or you can actually have her like taking things and selling them and going back to Madripoor, where the U.S. government may have they don't no jurisdiction to get her because she's been there for so long. So she knows if things go south, she can just jump back to where she's been. And I mean, who knows who she's talking to?
Right.
And lining up all these buyers for all this, the special stuff that she's going to have access to now. As much as we like the buddy cop, I think this is just as interesting.
Well, that's what I wanted to talk about. I have a theory about her. So there's some titles that have been released going forward, whether they're movies or Disney Plus shows or whatever. There's word that there's going to be a Thunderbolts series. Now, Thunderbolts is basically like the Bad Avengers. Thunderbolt Ross, who we know, who's been in the MCU before, he's basically he's Betty Ross's dad from Incredible Hulk. Bruce Banner's original girlfriend's father, who's also like this army general. And he was also the guy that initiated the treaty or the accords to be signed in Civil War. He's been kind of a thorn in the sides of the Avengers since the get-go. He, in the comics, he puts together a team of his own sort of Avengers where he actually takes the gamma radiation. He becomes Red Hulk. I think US Agent is in that. So it's like basically the negative versions of the Avengers, and they're put together as kind of these like not necessarily villains, but not really good guys either, kind of like these anti-hero collection. And that's honestly, I think that's where the Julie Louise-Dreyfus thing is heading towards that. Baron Zemo was a part of that. I don't know how that, bad group of Avengers plays out or like what series they're going to be in, but I think that's one aspect of it. There's also Secret Invasion, which
Mhm.
is been a title that's been revealed. That's a comic series that I actually read as it was released, like issue to issue, month to month, and I loved it because you just didn't know like who the heck in the Marvel universe was actually secretly a Skrull that was taking things over. And we've already been introduced to the Skrulls in Captain Marvel. They were at the end of WandaVision, that one agent that pulled was it Agent Wu or no, they pulled Monica into that
No, it was
theater.
Monica. Yeah.
That was a Skrull. So the Skrulls are around, and I'm honestly thinking either Julia Louis-Dreyfus is a Skrull or Sharron Carter is a Skrull, and that's why she's had this hard personality shift since we saw her in the movies. I think she may be a Skrull too. It's going to happen. I'm telling you. There's going to be a reveal where somebody that we know. It's not going to be like they're going to introduce new characters and this new character is a Skrull. That's what Secret
Yeah.
Invasion is. People that we know right now are Skrulls, and that's going to be revealed in that show. I know you have this little crush on Sharron Carter right
Yeah,
now.
I would have a
She's going to
hard
pull that
time.
wig off, and it's going to be a big old green skinned alien. I'm telling you.
No, man, I don't know. I'm just so down for what they can do with her character right now. I'd hate to see. I mean, I know the storyline. I mean, I know the idea behind Secret Invasion and everything, but
Yeah.
they've got to change so much up from what the actual uh, comic was, just because we know of them. We know that they're here. There's a lot of it. There's a less like I think mystery with it than when they originally released it.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're gonna see. I mean, they've been continuously putting out A+ content,
Oh yeah.
and I mean, we don't know when I know they just started like I think Amelia Clark has signed on to go ahead and do Secret Invasion. I think she was the
Right.
biggest name that they've released recently.
Yeah.
So we'll see, where they go. I mean, are they
Yeah.
going to continue using scrolls for like for Fury? Fury likes just sitting back and letting someone else impersonate him go down there,
Right.
using them as kind of a decoy.
Yeah, Fury's got to be in Secret Invasion too. He's a big deal in that. There's also Young Avengers. The grandson of Isaiah ends up being a hero himself called the Patriot. And that's appropriate with the bloodline and the family line. Is that maybe where we see Isaiah again? Does he become a mentor to these Young Avengers? We're going to have a Hawkeye series where he's training his daughter, and she, is going to join this team. We've already had Wanda and Vision's two kids. Are they going to come back in some form or fashion? There's a lot of stuff on the horizon here that's not really fleshed out yet, but like we've got the beginnings of.
Yeah, nothing's done on accident.
Yeah.
Everything's done calculated.
Right.
It's just how. See, now they're starting to get into where they were at the beginning of the whole decade of building.
Right.
Because back then it was like, okay, how many? If you ran into 10 people, how many of those 10 people knew who Iron Man was?
Right.
They'll go right to like the Saul,
Yeah.
or like they'll go to Captain Man. All this world building. And now that has come to a conclusion, now they got to restart kind of in a world where if you're not deep into the comics, there's going to be characters you don't know about.
Yeah.
And somehow they got to get that love and that connection into these characters, just like they did with Cap and Iron Man, Tony, and Bruce, and all those ones that when we think Avengers, I don't think no matter how hard and how successful going forward they're the Avengers.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. That's why I think a lot of these I don't think like the Young Avengers are going to become like the new Avengers, like where people think they are. Well, they are the Avengers. I think it's going to be a subset, but they're going to be like very important characters that are going to start to surround the other big players that we know. We know eventually we're going to get the Fantastic Four. We're going to get the X-Men. It's going to be happening. And those are going to be the stars of the show going forward. They're going to be like the new Captain America, Iron Man, the ones that we go to Steve, the ones in the marquee, And, but it's going to be interesting as they're kind of taking up the big summer blockbuster movie spot. we'll have all these other side pieces of Young Avengers and Thunderbolts and all these other things going on too in the meantime. Marvel, they,
They've got their hands in everything.
they do. And so far, so good, man. I think they're 2 for 2 as far as Disney Plus shows. I've enjoyed them both thoroughly.
I can just see everyone over at DC just banging their head on the wall right now. Why are they so successful?
Oh my
Why
gosh.
can't we get one? Oh man. So as an overall arc
Yeah.
of the show, give me your thoughts. I've got a few here.
I wish that I could have gotten a little bit more from Carly and the Flag Smashers. I wish that was fleshed out a little bit better. So where I could feel more sympathy, I guess, because Sam had a lot of sympathy for her at the end. But for me, I'm like, well, no, she just followed a path until she got to too much of a dark place that she, crossed that line. Villains, eventually they reach that point where they cross that line and they're just villains at that point. You got to, do what you need to do. So the Flag Smashers thing needed to be fleshed out a little bit. I actually liked the whole John Walker thing a little bit more than you did. I think his storyline was very intentional. I think the feelings that drum up in you about like, oh, I don't like seeing this guy in the outfit and this whole U.S. agent thing. I think he's a punk or whatever. Like, still, even now, I think that's very intentional. I think that's what the character is.
Oh, that was 100% intentional. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and honestly, they did a good job with that character. And Wyatt Russell, the actor who portrays him, I think he did a really good job of portraying this character. And Bucky and Sam, just seeing them, because they were kind of, from the beginning, even in the movies, they had sort of this relationship where they didn't seem to get along, but they would kind of crack jokes a little bit here and there. To watch their relationship grow and flourish, and Bucky become a part of being introduced to Sam's family down in the bayou and stuff, all that stuff. Like you said, I could watch a show that's just literally, it's not Falcon and Winter Soldier, it's Bucky and Sam.
Yeah.
And they're down in the bayou having just like family adventures or whatever. That's fine.
Crawfish.
Yeah, just going out on the boat and stuff like that. That'd be fun. So yeah, very strong effort here all the way. I think, I could have used a little bit more time for some of these storylines to like flesh out a little bit more, but what I got, I really can't complain about. Oh, and all the stuff with Isaiah and just like just the in-depth issues about race and America's history with it. And, I thought that was all really well done too.
That was very dangerous. That was very brave of them to do, honestly. Because if it was done wrong, they could have very well turned off a lot of people. And I think there was still a group of people who are like, I want to watch a show, not something.
Right, get woke, get broke. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, type thing.
Yeah, you're treading a line there. And they kind of stuck fairly in the middle. But at the same time, they were saying a lot of big, deep things, that rang true. So... I think they did a good job there too. And Isaiah's a character that I definitely want to see again. I don't know. What were your thoughts?
As a whole, I thought it was great. I mean, I love seeing the growth between Bucky and Sam, like from that whole scene when they were with a therapist and they're like knee to knee. And, Bucky breaks down. If Steve was wrong about you, he was wrong about me.
Right.
And seeing how from that scene to like you were mentioning at the very end of that party where he's just smiling.
Yeah.
And he's enjoying it, and like the whole, when he saved those GRC members, when they thank him, when he actually he's getting that that feel of doing the right thing,
right?
For one, maybe not for the first time because he's been a part of things, but it's the first time that it was his direct actions that saved somebody.
Right. A lot of the time up till now, it's been him doing the right thing to try to reverse something that he's already done. The bad thing on when he was under hypnosis, like he's been trying to
team up,
like he's been trying to like make up for stuff that he's already wronged, as opposed to now, which is like, well, I have a clean slate for a start. Now I could just start doing the right thing for doing the right thing. Yeah, which was a different feeling for him.
Now with the Flag Smashers and Karli, I wanted a lot more from that.
Yeah,
I loved her character. I hated the fact that she was shot. Like I was irritated. That was one of the few parts of the show, the final show, that I was not happy on what they did. Because I figured I would rather her actually escaped and continue it. That could have been a whole show in itself.
Right.
That could have been, the Flag Smashers, or it could have continued building the world with the GRC, because we
Yeah.
need to know more about the GRC. Because I mean, yeah, they're making very hard decisions, but they're making decisions like Thanos made decisions.
Yeah.
So the comparing those two, I thought was great. But yeah, when Carly got shot and died, I was irritated because I wanted more from her. We didn't even talk about the scene where when the final three got put in the back of the actual SWAT vehicle.
Oh, and Baron
And
Zemo's butler took him
yeah,
out.
yeah. It looked like they were gonna get away because the cop was like one world, one people, and
Yeah.
then you see him smile, and then he closes it up. Next thing you know, it blows up, and we find out Zemo had one last card to be played when he's in the raft and he hears the radio, the news. He
Right.
kind of smiles and lays down. He's like, "Yep." He had the stomach to complete the mission,
Yeah.
even with him not there. He had the ability to do so.
Yeah, that's amazing how this show, pretty much each and every piece, I'm curious to see continuing adventures. Like, of course, I want to see Sam and Bucky and what else they do in this universe. But like Sharron Carter, totally interesting. Isaiah, I love him introduced as a character. I want to see more of him. Baron Zemo, like he had a whole renaissance. Like Baron Zemo really came into his own in this show. Like he was
Yeah.
something else in the movies and then became something else entirely in this show. And I think we're going to see him again because he was such a fan favorite.
Is he gonna break out of the raft?
Oh, I think
Like-
he's very comfortable there. Like I think he could probably get out at any time. Or maybe he might be a guest for all I know. If he's going to be in the Thunderbolts or whatever, I don't know. There's something else going on there.
Yeah. Well, he's in Wakanda,
Yeah.
and if he gets out of that, then I think Bucky's in some serious trouble.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna have some serious answering, things to answer to.
You're right. That
Um,
may be if the Wakandans find out that Baron Zemo breaks out of the raft, then that would be the time for the White Wolf to come back and try to
And
make good on that.
Yeah. The whole Wakandan series is Bucky with them hunting Zemo
Yeah, that would be cool.
as
With
the White
Shuri
Wolf.
and her tech and stuff. I'd be down for that.
Yeah, I would love them to one up in Madripoor. I love the city of Madripoor. I want more of that city.
I think
Both
we're going to get
uptown
more.
and downtown.
We're going to get more in Shang-Chi coming up. It's going to be a backdrop in Shang-Chi, which is very cool. Yeah, just like they know what the heck they're doing, man. How they released the Shang-Chi trailer, a few days before the finale of this show.
Mhm.
And, Madripoor is both in both, properties, and it feels so connected, and you just can't wait to see the next one. Even though Shang-Chi is somewhat disconnected from this story, you're like, well, I can't wait to see Shang-Chi. And then from there, I'm sure they'll have a little nugget of something where you were like, can't wait to see Secret Invasion.
Mhm.
Like they just keep throwing it at you.
And we know everything is connected to everything.
Yeah.
And this whole world that's happening in Disney Plus shows and on the big screen, it's all one universe. It's one world, one people.
That's right.
And I love the fact that if they came out and said you don't have to see all these Disney Plus shows to enjoy what the movie's going to be. You'll understand what's going on.
Yeah.
But if you spend the time and you get invested in all the Disney Plus stuff, you're going to go ahead and be so much more satisfied
Right.
with what's going on. And just knowing how much they've done so far, I'm looking forward to Loki. I don't think I was exactly excited about Hawkeye, but now I'm looking more and more forward to Hawkeye. Definitely with hearing Jeremy Renner come out and said some of the cast he's worked with on that show was some of the best he's worked with in Marvel, period.
Wow.
Which blows my mind, him saying that, because you think about who he's worked with
Right.
for the the movies he's been in to this point. So I mean, I want to see a time, like I would love to see if they started his series back when he was still Ronin, I think it was.
Right. Yeah.
I would love to see that
I
because
guarantee we're going to see some of that.
because he's fighting in cities like Madripoor.
Yes.
He's going through that type of renaissance with
Right.
himself. Now we know he comes out of it because Black Widow comes in and kind of talks him down.
Yeah.
But I would love to see some flashbacks of that in the show.
Yeah. In Marvel, we trust, man. They know how to make a cool show. They can take any character and make it pretty cool. I mean,
Well, they're gonna try. I'm kind of skeptical of She-Hulk and Ms. Marvel, but We'll find out. But
We'll
like you
see.
said, I mean, we just got to wait and see what it is, and then go from there.
Yeah.
So, what do you say? Is this a wrap for the after show of Falcon Winter Soldier?
It sure as heck is. So we're Dadnarok. Catch our YouTube channel. If you haven't gone there already and liked and subscribed to our channel, please feel free to do so now. Don't miss any of the Dadnarok fun. Check out Dadnarok.com for Dadnarok.com for everything else that we do. We've got an audio podcast that we release weekly on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, everything else. And yeah, I think that's about it for now.
Okay, guys. Well, until we see you again, we'll be back on Friday. Next Friday. We're not sure what yet, but we're going to figure out something. And until we see you then, I'll say go ahead and keep it cheesy.
See ya.